Finally, it's time to do the things we've been talking about for some weeks now, and it's to get the windows in place. So today I have a guest arriving here who is a professional to put the windows in place, and I'm going to do my best to really shoot everything so you can learn from it. And I know many of you might be in a situation where you're actually struggling with this old type of window assembly, where you have a rubber list, this rubber seal, and also this chrome list that will go inside, chrome or shadow line or whatever. But I think it will be interesting today. So yeah, I won't talk more about it. I'll just gonna show you. First of all, check that the window frame has no rust or anything, because you will always have a surprise when you take away this seal after all those years in traffic and weather. So in this case, it's really fresh. There is absolutely no rust, so it's ready to go in. In the back, it's really crucial that you have this inner roof, this textile, attached all the way around. And I'm using this this glue, which you put with a brush, and then you let it dry for a while before you attach it, and it really sticks. Because you don't want to have this hanging down or dropping out from the seal later on. So you want to make sure it's really attached to the car, and now it is. So I did this recently, unfortunately off camera, but still it's there, and I hope it will sit tight while we put the windows in place later on today. Apart from that, the windows, the rear window, the glass, it's a blue tone on this car. This is the old window from the car, which has been refurbished. I've cleaned it up really. I had to solder back the attachment here for the electrical heater, because normally those can drop off. But it's easy with a soldering iron to heat it up and to get it to get reattached. You want to make sure that you use a fine grain sandpaper to clean the surface, so you get the copper surface, so the solder can really melt down and attach it. Of course, we need to have a situation, what do you call it, like a suitable sticker. Thanks, Bart. Anyway, the front window, that's a new one. I had in stock, a new old stock here, so that's gonna go inside. So yeah, with this sunshade up here, the green tone in this case. So yeah, that's what's gonna happen in a while. Also, you have the seals, the rubber seals. This is the original one from the car. It's 40 years old, but still, if you clean it up, you'll find out that it's actually, in most cases, really good condition. It's really high quality back in the days. And you have the rear one here as well. And you need to do your best to source those seals secondhand, or keep the ones that was already in the car, because the price for those parts today, I'm not kidding, the rear one is about 700 euros. $700 for this seal for the rear window. So I mean, the prices for this kind of products has been like skyrocketing. So do your best to really save the ones you have, make sure there are like no damage or anything, and when you remove a window, take care of it. Don't just cut it up or something in the belief that you can get a new one for a bargain, because you can't. That's the truth. So without further ado. Yeah, so Christopher joined in and helped me with this rubber seal and the window installation. Well, help me out. It's a little, yeah, it's a nice thing to say. I think he did most of the work, or if not all of it. We start with massaging the rubber seal into place. And I mean, it's quite tight. It should be a water seal proof and everything. So, and we have to remember this seal is like 35-40 years old, even though it's been massaged and cleaned in like hot water and everything. So it's really Really nice to work with still, but yeah, it is tight. So, and it's important to get it in place all the way in, so you give maximum room for the window later on, because I mean, if this one is not fully in contact with the steel frame, there will be not enough room for the glass to fit inside. So it needs to be all the way out to really make sure you push it down all the way onto the body. And that's what he's doing. So yeah, he did a magnificent job, and now the rubber seal is in place. This episode is gonna be a little bit about just watching this happen, and I'm gonna explain as much as possible while doing so. So if you get bored, just skip on ahead and look further ahead to see the next steps of this procedure. It's quite a long job. I think it took for us about 4 or 5 hours in total. We had a bit of a struggle with the rear one, and we had also some struggle with the trim in the front one. But I mean, it's important to take your time and to really make sure you get the outcome really perfect. So now it's time for the glass. It's all about being careful. You get one shot to do this, and any mistakes or any cracks are irreversible. With this fine tool, this like a plastic knife, well, not knife, but it's like a spoon or something, so you really open up the seal, making sure that the glass is sliding in to its position, and you can like squeeze it and force it into position. You need to have it in position before you do the rest of the sides, otherwise yeah, there is not enough room basically. This foam he's using is some kind of like it's a lubrication. It's not sticky, but it's like letting the glass slide easier into the rubber, and it softened the rubber as well. So, and afterwards it evaporates and disappears by itself, so it's nothing you're gonna suffer from along the way. Yeah, pushing and knocking on the window, making it slide into position, and it like swallow the glass when you're in the final steps and you really see that it's in position. So now it's time for the trim, and the lower trim is a little bit of a pain. You need to first of all find the center, of course, and because it's impossible to move it once it's in place or inside the rubber seal. So you need to measure it in, so you have it just enough on yeah, the equal amount of the trim on each side. And the wiper, the center wiper, you can have that as a memory. The wiper in the middle, it's always in the absolute center of the body, so that's a good reference point. And yet again, opening up the rubber, making sure that this aluminum trim slides in, and it might not be possible to get it all the way in on the first try, so you need to do it in several steps. You will see this along the way, that we try to get it in a little bit all the way, lubricate some more, and then continue do the same thing all over again, and finally it slides into the real fixed position in the bottom. And yeah, it's a good feeling when you see that happening. And we're using tape on the body to make sure if the trim should fall out for some reason, it doesn't damage the paintwork. it's quite time consuming, and like you need to have patience, and yeah, just let it do their thing, and pushing the trim while opening up the rubber a little bit, and step by step getting it to sink in. That's the trick. Yeah, and this is the final steps of the front one before we're like happy with the result. And yeah, it's nice when it's there, and I hope it will take a long time until I'm forced to replace this front window again. Yeah. There it is. Yeah, like I said, this is gonna be like a boring episode to watch, but I still think it's quite tutorial for you guys who are sitting with this kind of a thing ahead of you and really want to know how it's done. I didn't know exactly how it was done, so it was like very useful for me as well. I thought it was a lot easier, that the trim would easily slide into the rubber, but it's very clear it doesn't. So it's really a work and time consuming, and like I said, be patient. It will be successful if you just let it do. Just do it the right way, and yeah, that's all I can say. This trim, which is like expanding the rubber and locking the window in place, is still able to be bought by new at the BMW dealer. It's available in chrome and in shadow line. So there's this weird phenomena that if it's exposed to sun over years, it shortened itself. It's like shrinking up, so it's getting too short. So it's not very easily to use it once again. But I mean, yeah, it's about 120 bucks or something like that to get a new one, and yeah, you should really try to source one as long as they're available, and if you're up for this task. The corner piece of the lower part needs to be slided on and then inserted into the rubber as well. Yeah, just like the other parts, and then afterwards you slide down the locking trim, this rubber seal, or this the top trim later on. Yeah, so the front window is in place, and now it's time for the rear one. So we start the same way, inserting the rubber seal, making sure the inner roof, this textile, is squeezed in between, so it's like keeping the inner roof on in place. Then lubricating the rubber, making sure it's flexible and yeah, prepared for the glass installation. Time for the glass. Same thing as the front. Open up the seal to make sure the glass is sliding in, so we have a good starting position for the window, that it's really in the bottom position of the lower end of the window opening. And then we work from two sides here, me pushing the rubber seal outwards, and Christopher is working with it from the outside to make sure it's clamping the glass on both sides. And the rear window was really much tighter than the front one, so this was, yeah, took a lot of resting, coffee and everything before continuing once again. But finally it slides into position. And the chrome trim for the rear one are still able to be bought, but I'm using the same as the front because it's the same length basically as the 3 pieces you need in the rear. So I buy I'll have the part number here. I buy the front one and I cut it up in 3 pieces in the correct length, and yeah, save 50% of the cost. So that's a good idea, I think. Yeah, and the final steps of the lower trim in the rear to really get the rubber out, swallowing the whole trim into position. So there it is, the corner piece, and later on also the lateral trim coming in. The rear one doesn't have the one single trim going from one side to the other. It's have corner pieces also in the top of the window, so you need to have the 3-piece small trim to lock it in place. This one, 2 pieces on the sides and 1 on the roof. So there it is, windows in place and the chrome lists and everything. Work done by a professional. Big thanks to Christopher for the help. And I mean, just take a look, the car looks already quite more finished. So now it's just about to remove some of the stickers and yeah, take it out for a wash to see this amazing color in daylight. So that's gonna happen quite soon. And the next thing to do is to start working with the interior. Now when we don't have any glass or anything lying around in the workshop. So yeah, it's gonna be amazing to take the next step.